Fortnite is getting roasted, but not for what you think. From a collab getting torched by the community to a huge problem with crypto, here are the most hated things in Season 3. And you gotta watch out on BR because players are using a game-breaking glitch to get free wins, so let me tell you how it works. Did you know the base boost doesn't use a charge if you switch items, but it'll still give you the effect, and this is allowing players to fly to space and just camp there.
Wait a second. Wait, they can't stop him. Wait, Shipsky's getting hit. Wait, Shipsky might beat clicks. Winning is one thing, beating clicks to win, so every kid is coming after you now. Like, I swear to God, Donald Musk is getting a letter to his house. My God. God, he just won.
And the next festival season is already being teased, but players are already roasting it. Deadmau5 was officially announced, and while he isn't controversial or anything like that, he's getting called out for being irrelevant. A lot of players feel like his era has passed, with people forgetting about him, only for some fans to emerge and defend the guy. Now, in the end, it all comes down to Festival not being able to please everyone. Not every season is gonna be for you, but you could always hope the next artist is one of your favorites. The only long-range weapon we have this season is the Deadeye DMR. That's right, they vaulted all snipers from the loot pool, and you can't even find a single scope weapon other than a DMR. We went from some of the most OP scope blasters ever to this, which a lot of players think sucks. For a DMR, the damage is too low, and the scope design barely adds any zoom, while also just getting in the way. Now, Season 3 is already getting some crazy collabs, but tell me, why is Cleveland dropping exactly like the show, but Peter couldn't? For some reason, we are still stuck with a buff version, and this just proves it can work, leaving more fans frustrated than ever. Maybe they didn't want to lock the Peter Griffin behind a pass so they could just release him in the shop later. We could only hope. I also hope that after the Simpsons mini-season, we'll get a Family Guy one. Any more POIs, bosses, and some more crazy items besides the Peter medallion. Superman is obviously the star of the season, but people who unlocked him have seen nothing but negatives for the new skin. To start, there was a huge mix-up with the capes being granted the wrong one from Chapter 2, and then they removed it from the original owners. Now luckily Epic fixed all of that, but then owners of the OG Superman, they tried to equip his glider, you know, the perfect match one, only to find it locked. Hidden when not equipped with the Superman outfit. Like, I'm just really confused here. This guy's name is literally Superman. And that's not the only issue with the Man of Steel, because the first skin had something completely unique about it: skydiving. No matter what contrail you had equipped, he would fly down in the iconic pose. So we were all looking forward to seeing it transfer to the new one. Players dropped in, and they saw him floating like any other skin, which I don't understand. How are they doing it better years ago and then not now? It's kind of like how the shield bubble originally blocked everything. Last season, we used them to stop blaster fire, but one thing they didn't work against was the TIE fighters and the X-Wings. For some reason, the explosion would just blast right through them. It seemed to be a bug at first, but now it's gotta be intentional. Getting attacked by a player with a Superman sprite this season, throw down a bubble to protect yourself, and oh wait, you're dead, because it doesn't work at all. And the same goes for crypto. Before, the shield bubble used to be an impenetrable safe zone. Now, with all the counters, people just think it's useless. Then again, some of you have said that crypto isn't even that good. Obviously, he's a reworked junk riff, which didn't have many fans, but at least that destroyed builds. Throw crypto down and he'll appear a lot faster than a junk riff would, but he won't even break through one wall to hit your opponent, not to mention that it doesn't really deal damage through the builds. At least the junk riff would straight up wipe someone out. One problem I've seen mentioned a lot has been an issue throughout Chapter 6, and that's durability. It started with the katana and kneecapper, which made sense. It balanced out their power, so you had to use it wisely. But then Epic started going overkill, adding it to the kinetic blade, grapple blade, and the chug cannon. All items that already use a charge or a cooldown system, or even 2 slots to make them more balanced. Now we have got the next in line, the base boost gauntlets. They only have 2 to 3 charges at a time, so you can't spam them, and they're really only good for destroying builds or mobility. So why add durability? At least things like boons don't have durability, because they're our only source of feeling super this season. We've got power-ups like shield regen in the storm, or marking enemies who attack you, but none of them feel super. Then we've got the hero items, but they're all just gauntlets, and players want to see powers like the ones from the Marvel seasons. We can fly, get superhuman strength, harness the elements, and so much more. Now, there's a lot of items coming later on, but right now it feels like these powers could belong to any season, not just superheroes. Here is one thing that upset a lot of Star Wars fans. Obviously, the season is over, so that's one thing, but this is actually about the live event. The whole thing was meant to be a love letter to fans, just like the season. We got a space battle while we waited for it to begin, and things were looking promising, only for the event to end with just us running around the Death Star. We didn't get to recreate the iconic trench run. In fact, we didn't even see it, only watching from the island as it exploded. And obviously not every live event can be a perfect 10 out of 10. At least we got a Star Wars season for the fans out there. Now it's time to move on into a brand new season, bringing back everyone who didn't care for Star Wars, right? Well, sorta. Everything was over, all the blasters and X-Wings gone, but the POIs stayed. And not just one of them, all three, except Vader's Solitude got carried over, and that left everyone surprised and kinda disappointed. Another thing leaving players bummed out is a missing item. Every season, Fortnite shows off the coolest things in the trailers, only to make us wait a month or more until we could use them. Becoming Superman already looks insane and drew in so many players on day one, only to find out they'll have to wait. But you can't really blame Epic here. It'll be a lot to drop a mythic like that on day one, and it makes sense for the perfect mid-season update to keep the game fresh. Keep in mind, the movie doesn't release for like another month. But it definitely isn't refreshing being pinged every 20 seconds in the final zone. A lot of people have shared their thoughts on the new tracking visor because while it's a cool new item that's fun to use, it's kinda overpowered. Now we've had items that ping players before, but one that only has a 20-second cooldown and has a range of an entire endgame circle, you can literally reveal every player left, which is why you guys have been calling for a nerf. Whether it's increasing the delay or just removing it from ranked, and keep in mind, you can drop this to teammates and it resets the cooldown. Now let's talk about the base boost gauntlets. You guys have already expressed that you hate the durability, but ignoring that, their power has also split the community in two. Competitive players hate how powerful they are to destroy builds in a single tap, while others think they need to do more damage or launch you further for better mobility. I can honestly see the reasons for both, especially when these are the main movement item of the season. And they have already tweaked one part of the season, changing something that hasn't been touched in years. This time around, instead of just buying a bonus pack of 25 levels, you also get Superman early, ahead of his release in July. Now, it's a pretty cool idea, however, it just means that people who want to play with him now are forced to spend an extra 1,800 V-Bucks. Obviously, that's up to you if you want to wait for it to be free, but what about those who don't even want it? A lot of players who already unlocked Superman in Chapter 2 think it's a wasted slot in the past that could have been used for someone else. And if you think about it, they kind of have a point. Epic doesn't really put the same collab character in two different passes, always releasing newer versions in the shop. You'd think they would have learned their lesson after people complained about double Dr. Doom. A lot of the community is also disappointed in Epic's move with Lego. It's been an interesting mode from the start and even gained a large community, but their latest update has left fans with a sour taste in the mouth. That's AI. Now, if you enter Brick Life, you can run into NPCs that'll speak to you in real time with AI. We all thought Darth Vader's NPC was a one-time thing, but now people feel like it's getting a little out of hand. I don't know. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments. And I think we can all agree that sprites instantly won over the community. I mean, they're just adorable. So we were happy to see them survive all 3 seasons of this chapter until now. We have sprites roaming the island, but why remove the shield and wind sprites? They were super useful and fun to see running around. There is no reason they couldn't stay in. I just hope Epic won't forget about them next season when they take the soup ones away, otherwise it'll be Colombo all over again. And he's not the only one missing, so is Omega. He's back with the new remix skin for the OG pass, but something felt off. The base skin is a white chrome version, which looks amazing, but left players hoping his iconic black would be the second one. Instead, we got gold. For some reason, this is the first OG pass skin to not use the design of the original, and a lot of fans are upset about it. When I asked you what you wanted to change about the season, another thing that came up is weapon mods. These were yet another controversial feature in the game, with some people loving being able to craft your perfect gun, and others hating it. But now we're back to hit scan, so it could really be interesting to see back, especially after these bunkers have appeared all over the map. So it turns out these will actually have more hero caches and items to purchase later in the season. Right now, most of us are finding it pretty difficult to open the hero caches. You usually come across a bunch of them at the start of the game that you cannot open, and it takes a lot of rank up, especially to S tier. By then, they're pretty much all lost in the storm. And speaking of the storm, not only does Team Rumble give you no time before it comes in, but it doesn't matter when there's half the season missing. Yeah, turns out the super sprites aren't in the mode at all, and the same goes for Robin's grappler. Out of everything I talked about in this video, let me know what you agree with and disagree with. It's been Tommy, and keep it here on Top 5 Gaming.